I want to tell you a story today. It's a Christmas story. It's a story of a man who walked around the world. The journey begins really with a couple of teenage parents. The girl actually got pregnant before she was supposed to. And then, as if to make matters worse, they were forced by the government to pack everything they owned and travel 70 miles, 2,500 feet elevation gain to a little town, their hometown, where they were from, called Bethlehem. When they arrived there, you would have thought that their family would have taken them in, but they weren't really accepted there. Instead, they were forced to go to a local inn. And what did they discover? That's right. So because of that, they were forced to bunk with the barn animals, the stable nearby that held all of the animals of the inn. And in the middle of the night, sometime early in the morning, she had a baby. We sing about it away in the... And then at age 2, he was actually forced to begin to walk. And he walked to a different country. It was for his own safety because someone was trying to kill him. And he stayed there for a couple of years until finally it was safe for him to return. And they packed everything up again and they traveled their way back to Nazareth, where this man would pick up an axe. He would have had to go gather wood because his dad was a carpenter. He would travel miles and miles and walk for miles to get wood. Eventually, at age 12, he picked up the tools of the carpenter. He walked as a carpenter for a long time, 18 years. Sometime during those 18 years, his dad died. He was forced to take over the shop and teach his brothers the trade. It must have been a long walk as a carpenter. One day, he actually threw away his tools and began a brand new walk. He became an itinerant preacher. He took up the message of his cousin, whose name was John the Baptist. His message was, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He began his ministry by walking into a wedding. And he actually turned water into wine, amazing the guests. He began his ministry and walked into the hills and taught. And as he walked and taught, the multitudes would follow him. They loved to hear him preach. They loved to hear him share. And one time, they went without any food, and he was actually able to feed 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread. As he would walk with friends, he would walk with enemies, but oftentimes he would walk with the sick and the lame and the wounded. And to them, he was the great physician. He did for them what no one else could do. He healed their bodies, but even more, he healed their souls. He had an incredible 3-year run as an itinerant minister. One day, his enemies forced him to pick up a cross. And he carried it up a lonely, long hill called Golgotha. It was an impossible task. He couldn't do it. In fact, partway up, he left his cross behind. He walked up that hill that day, and his enemies killed him. He died on the cross, and for most, they thought that was the end of his journey. He was taken down off the cross, and they took him to a grave. Even his own followers wondered, would this be the end of his journey? But the great news of the Christmas story is that it's not the end. It's just the beginning. He's walking, Emmanuel, God with us. It's his presence in our life that makes a difference. He walks with anyone who will walk with him. Why not join him as he walks around the world?